Hey you all, welcome to Pearls of Eden. Happy Freedom Friday. Can you all believe it? We have made it through another work week and your girl is ready for the weekend. I know we don't just live for the weekend, but we live for the day. But when you have busy days and you're running here and there, boy, you do look forward to that day of rest, right? So I'm excited. All right, bye Mariana. I love you. Have a wonderful day. Hey y'all, we're back to our conversation. Well, welcome back to Freedom Friday at Pearls of Eden. And I'm Marilyn Acosta. You all, thank you so much for subscribing. Our channel is growing. And I just thank you so much, not only that you decided to subscribe for those of you who are new, but those of you who have been with me since, 2020? We've been walking together through the Word of God, growing together. And I just thank you for your faithfulness and your loyalty and your support. You all, those emails, they mean the world. Some of you, you have the gift of encouragement. And boy, do you know how to encourage, and you know how to show love and gratitude. And I'm so thankful that God has sent people that have a heart to give back. And I don't mean just financially, some of you do give like super chats and you give donations, and that's beautiful. But most importantly, I get so grateful for the emails where you just share your testimonies and you share what God is doing in your life and what you're learning and how you're applying the wisdom. It's so heartwarming. And I can see how Jesus said, when he tells the story of the 10 leopards, how only one came back to say thank you, but how meaningful that was to him, and how because of that one leopard's gratitude, he received his entire healing. And I love that story because it always reminds even myself to look for ways to show your gratitude, to always be grateful, to always say thank you. Don't take it for granted when people give to you, when they share to you. In whatever measure that they're giving, show your gratitude, because when you do, there is so much blessing in it. God adores it. And I see why. Happy Freedom Friday. Keep saying that. What are we going to talk about today, you all? Oh, there's so much. I want to talk to you about family. I feel like in 2024, God is really healing families. He's restoring families. He's all about family. God is a God of family. And I think that's beautiful, because those of you who may have prodigals and children that are going astray, or maybe they're not behaving the way that you want them to behave, you just have to keep speaking life. I have 3 boys, you all, and they all have different personalities, y'all. And, I always speak to their possibilities. I always speak to what I know that God has placed inside of them. I don't speak to just what I see. And I don't mean just walking around with rose-colored lenses. But the world will tell your child everything they're not on their own, right? It's up to us as parents to nurture our children, to build their confidence, to let them know their identity in Christ. And so every moment you have a chance to bless your child with your words, and bless your husband, and bless your wife, and bless your family, take that opportunity. I want to say this: do not come into agreement with negative reports. You can hear what people say and find a corrective way to deal with the issue without coming into agreement with it, because your words and your agreement have power. And I want to tell that especially to my parents. I work in a school system, and every time I have an opportunity to give a kid a hug or speak life over them, especially some of those difficult children, I know God has put me in a space and place to do that. So when I see that challenging kid, I say, you know what? You're a great kid. You're going to have a wonderful day because you're a leader. You have leadership skills, right? And I want you to use them today to help someone, help your classmate, help your teacher by being a good example, because you're such a great kid. And I just do those kind of things, and I walk around and I just try to pour love and light into children, because here's the thing, children have it hard too, life can be difficult. They're trying to navigate, and you all, it's so much different than when we were growing up. These children are contending with so much So any opportunity we have to show grace and patience and understanding, and also remember, wait a minute, I know what it feels like to be a seventh grader. Oh, y'all remember seventh grade or eighth grade or 11th grade? And especially my senior, right? He's my middle child. He's like, he could be sensitive about different things, and he could be a little bit more emotional than my other two. Well, the baby can be too. um but I have to remember that, and I have to, just remember to encourage them and to speak life over them, and I like to make little notes. You would think it as a senior that these things would get, oh, that's a babyish. It's not. I'll send a little love note, sneak it into his backpack, or I try to meet them where they are. Like, I don't like Snapchat, y'all. Y'all, the only social media I have for real is Twitter. If you're on Twitter, then y'all go and follow me on Twitter. Okay, it's Pearls of Eden 2. And I have YouTube. I love YouTube. I was talking to my mom the other day about how, YouTube is such a blessing. I love YouTube because it's educational. You can actually learn and grow. So if you're going to be on a social media platform, YouTube, because you can get better, right? And I'm all about growing. So YouTube is I love it. But I decided to sign up for Snapchat, and I had done it before, but I just couldn't bring myself to stay on it because it just seems so pointless to me, right? But my middle son is always snapping. Snap, 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 snap. So I said, I better get on the snap train. Let me try it out, right? And so for him, he's always snapping me all throughout the day because that's his favorite form of communication, and we were able to grow closer together, and I'm able to see what's going on throughout his day. Whereas before, I would text him throughout the day and he would text back, but now it's like he sends me multiple snaps a day, so I get a really inside look because that's his platform of choice, right? He's on TikTok, but I just can't. He says he really doesn't like to do TikTok too. I'm like, God, thank you so much, I appreciate that. And my youngest, when he does have his phone, we tend to kind of navigate his phone a little bit more, because he's in 8th grade. So he does have Snapchat, and he likes to snap too. My oldest one, a little bit, but he's not like crazy snapping like the middle. Anyway, my point is, y'all, we have to find ways to connect with our children. And this is the year of restoration. This is the year of healing. And I want you to speak life over your children. I want you to, every morning, before they hit the door, before they go out to school, be the first to speak a blessing over your child. I bless you today. You are a child of God. You are highly favored. You are highly graced. The goodness of the Lord will be upon you today. You are intelligent. You are smart. You are capable. You speak life over them, and you're planting the seeds, because if you don't plant the seeds, unfortunately, y'all, in our school systems, not everybody's graced with the wisdom and the patience that maybe you have, or the love that you have for your children. They just see a student sometimes that's getting on their nerve. And they don't have the capability, because truth be told, they don't even know how to encourage themselves. Or maybe they just don't have it in them to show your child the grace that they need, or to show them kindness or goodness. It's tough out here. Not every teacher is made equally. Not every police officer is made equally. Not every doctor is made equally. This is why, y'all, you have to stand in the gap for your children in every area. And listen, parents, that means we got to do our job too with our children. Teachers have a hard job, and we got to be ready to connect with teachers on how to help. When we get a phone call that your little baby boy is not doing what they're supposed to do, that we find ways to discipline them and correct them, and not just make excuses for their behavior. So, it's a twofold support system. And teachers, listen, we need supports from parents, because a lot of times, parents, they will overlook the behavior, and they'll make every excuse about why their child is doing what they're not supposed to, cutting up, talking back. Like my little one, he always want to have the last say, and I gotta constantly tell him, you don't get the last say. When you're talking to an adult, You don't get the last say. No matter how right you think you are, you just be right in your mind, but you best not talk back. And I have to constantly remind him of that, right? Because he is very like, there's got to be a rhyme or reason. I've got to tell you my side. No, 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 no. There's a time to speak and there's a time to be silent. And we're working with him, training him up on how to do that. These things have to be taught, you all, too. These are not skills that kids just naturally have. Some kids are naturally shy, they're naturally reserved, and they just don't ever do anything. What seemingly would be, I don't care. How would I say? Seemingly would be a distractive behavior, or I don't know. They don't have that. They're not very communicative in that way. But if you have a very communicative child, y'all know them ones that they got to answer for everything. They want to know about everything. They're curious about everything. They just won't get along to go along. If everybody, if there's a question and the teacher say everybody say yes to this answer, they're gonna say no, right? Because they don't conform, right, to just what everybody is doing. That's my youngest. He thinks for himself. He thinks outside of the box. He's not afraid to voice his opinion. And I have to tell him there's a time, space, and place. And I have to correct him often about that. So anyways, I say that teachers need our help. They need our support. They don't need us, always siding with our children, making excuses for their behavior. It is a partnership, and we all have to learn to work together so we can get the best results for our children, right? Because in the end, I would hope everybody wants the best, right? I just say all this that you have to be your child's number one advocate as far as seeing their potential. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's move on. Next topic. Now, let's go beyond our children, right? I want you to also extend grace and love and speak life into your family members. Do not come into agreement with gossip and slander. I don't care how well-meaning it is. When people start speaking, I call it death. When they start talking about everything a person's not, and speaking to what they're showing and just negative talk instead of speaking to their capability, it disturbs my spirit so much that I have to log off. I'm like, bye, I'm sorry. You have to let people know, and people will get offended with you. People will even think like, oh, you're just trying to do too much. But I truly, especially when it comes to family and people, those around me where I know my words have a direct impact, I am not going to come into agreement with speaking gossip, negativity. I'm not going to even let the person that's coming to me to try to vent about another person do that. I'm going to guide them in the right direction. So yeah, when people bring you information that you're not supposed to even know, that conversation or that information was given to that person in trust, you just got to say, I really don't care to know. That wasn't privy to me. It keeps you pure. It keeps your heart clean. So I want to remind you that yes, it can be awkward sometimes, but you have to let people know where you stand. Please, when it concerns someone else's business, that is not a public matter. They did not tell me. If it doesn't A or B, you don't need to take part of it, okay? You got to just say no. You are speaking life over that situation and nothing more, okay? Okay. Because why, you all? I know that this year is powerful for restoration of family, and what we speak is like, whoa, right? It's going into the atmosphere, and God is doing something with our sound. And so I have just become into the practice that I have to be very careful, very, very careful of what I give my what. Yes, and my amen to. So listen. People can think you're doing too much all day, but at the end of the day, you have to answer to God, right? At the end of the day, you want Him to be delighted in you and how you are behaving. Does that mean you're going to get everything perfect? We all fall short, but you just get back up and you try again. So remember that. Remember your words. Your husband getting on your nerves. Don't go around telling everybody he getting on your nerves. Don't go around telling everybody everything he does that ain't right. Is that love? Is that long suffering? No. Is that being patient? Is that being love covereth the multitude of sins? Would you want him out here telling everybody what you ain't and what you never do? No. So ladies and gentlemen, let us be careful with our words. Let us choose to see beyond what people are displaying and see the best in them. Start speaking the best about them and watch things shift. Because truth be told, some of these people keep getting the same results because they keep going back to their vomit. They keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Wondering why they can't see a change in their children and their husband. What have you spoken? What are you coming into agreement with? How are you using your sound? All right. Moving on, y'all, because I could belabor that. Current news. Did y'all see the interview with Kamala and Tim Walz? What did y'all think about that? I can't wait to hear what my peeps thought about that. It was a lot of fluff. We still really didn't get anywhere, right? I don't think she should have done the interview. I don't think it was helpful at all to their campaign. But you know what? Our prayers are working, you all. Our prayers is that God will expose everything that needs to be exposed so that people can actually see what it is that it is, you know? And that September 10th debate is going to be something. And Donald Trump is a shrewd businessman. Donald Trump has run billionaire empire businesses. He's been in the game for a long time. He knows how to deal with the Putins of the world and all of the superpowers. He has this demeanor that says, you know what? Don't mess around and find out. And they just don't have that demeanor, you all. And I say we want to just be so cautious about what we are voting into the White House, because you don't want to be standing in a bread line. And Kamala Harris and Tim Walz give bread line vibes. Y'all better hear me well. Do you want to send your sons? Do you want to send your daughters to war, World War III? Do you want to see them drafted out? Then you better understand it's a serious game. This is serious, you all. And so, yes, as a child of God, I have been commissioned to tell you the importance. I know a lot of people think, why are you talking about politics? Because politics, the Bible, is full of it, you all. And I suggest many of you go read it if you don't understand that. You know, the Esthers, I keep saying, are arising. And as Mordecai said, if you remain silent, you and your, come on, y'all, you and your household is going to perish. But God will raise up another. And we're seeing it. People who refuse to do what God told them. They refused to get in line with the new wineskin, they couldn't perceive that God was doing a new thing. And then you get left behind, and God raises up someone who will sound the alarm. But here's the catch. When you fail to obey, you fail to hearken to the instructions of the Lord, when it shows up, when destruction shows up, it's coming to you and your father's household. When bread line times come, it's showing up at your front door. When drafting season comes, it's showing up at your front door. When they want to take your child out of your home because they're confused about their identity and you don't go along with it to get along, they're coming to get your child out of your house. Why? Because you have come into agreement with all of this foolishness and you didn't raise your voice. You decided you was not going to go to the voting booth. And some are foolish enough to actually put their hand to the pen to vote in alignment with this wickedness. Oh, it's going to show up at your front door if you don't shift. And so my prayer is that the Lord will open the eyes of those who say that they are his, so that they can understand how serious it is, and that he would open the eyes of those around us. Because, it's a serious matter what we're dealing with. And it is no time. This is not the election. I have said it over and over. This isn't what we do is critical, because it could be the last one. It's critical what we do. Anyways. And then I saw the RFK. Y'all, I love RFK. Let me just tell y'all. RFK, when he aligned and he decided that he was going to endorse Trump, I was very happy. My husband, he likes RFK. A lot of people say he's out there. Let me tell you something. When he talks about the food, you all, facts.com. Listen, I've been in the game for 15, 20 years. Your girl's been doing organic. I've been doing green smoothies. I've been an advocate against Monsanto. Yeah, I would go and take my kids, y'all. This is when they were little. And we would do those, protests against Monsanto. Y'all, if y'all don't know, because they were putting GMOs and everything. And when I was talking about GMOs, long time ago, people was looking at me like sideways. When I bring my water everywhere I go, because I drink a high quality water, people be looking at me sideways, talking all kinds of nonsense. She doing the most. Especially about 20 years ago, y'all. People did not get it. They did not get it. They're just catching on. So listen, I'm not one to tell you to go down conspiracy lane, because it goes nowhere. But this is past conspiracy. These are facts that are truly affecting you, and it's really something you can do about it. This is why I even mention it. There are some things that are conspiracy, and yeah, they're true, but it's not edifying. It's not going to help you. You can't do anything about it. You better trust in the good Lord, right? And I know some of you might be like, well, I'm trusting in the Lord with my food, and I'm eating whatever I want, McDonald's, processed food. No. God gives us wisdom now. We have choices. We have free will. And if you eat that way, you're literally destroying your temple. And I love that RFK is basically saying, listen, these foods are causing our children to be on every medication under the sun, when if they just simply ate right, if they understood that the food coloring, the red dyes and the blue dyes are not good for our children, and it causes over hyperactivity, and you can simply change this through your diet. You don't have to go and put your child on a medication that's going to alter them neurologically and damage them. This is what they won't tell you. And people used to get so mad at me when I would tell people, listen, please don't put your child on this medication. Please don't put your child on this pharmaceuticals. People would get so angry. But all I was doing was trying to help. All I was doing was trying to help their child, not only mentally, physically, but just their bodies from being destroyed. Because see, what happens is when these kids get on this medication, they have to constantly up the dosage, because then it's not enough, right? It's like that hit. It's just not doing what it used to do. That's because that's what drugs do, right? And you constantly gotta, raise the bar. And then not only that, most often they can't eat, so they have to take a medication for that. They can't sleep, so they have to take a medication for that. And it goes on and on and on. And then people get on these antidepressants, and what they don't tell you, then you start hearing stuff. Then you start dealing with, I'm telling you, the cure is worse than the disease, but they're going to always come up with a pill to market to you, right? They're going to always, good old pharmacia. But your foods, they bring so much healing. They have such a life force. That's why I talked to you all a few months ago about dead food that carry zero frequency versus life-giving food that has one ingredient, all of your fresh produce, right? That you want to make sure is organic and is not coming from the dirty dozens, because it has so much pesticides that it is not even healthy anymore. So you have to have an understanding of that. Y'all, this is not new news. This has been around for, like I said, at least 20 years. But people are just, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And so you want to stick with those one ingredient foods, like your chicken, your beef, your fish, your fresh produce that's not a part of the dirty dozen, the organic. These have one ingredient, they have a high frequency, they have a life-giving frequency. Everything has a frequency, another lesson for another day. So when you're eating these high frequency, life-giving foods, you're gonna have life. But if you eat these dead foods, those packaged, highly processed foods that have zero life, they're dead foods. Think about it, dead foods that you're putting in your body are going to give you what kind of results? Okay, let's get back to the message. What I'm telling you is he is facts.com. He is outing FDA. He's talking about all of the food coloring and all of the processed food, the poison, you all, that is basically destroying our children and people, and why America has the most obese people and inflamed and on every kind of medication. It's because of our food. So y'all gotta go check it out. RFD. I can listen to me, you all. I can vouch for him. I've been on this game for a long time when people was like, you doing the most, okay? You real granola. He's telling the truth, you all. And we're going to have to cover him in prayer, because they'll be coming for him too. Because when I tell you, they don't play about that. When you start talking about the food and the water sources, and you start trying to listen, Linda, they'll try to cut you up and out of here, okay? But just rest assured. Listen, I feel like they are like the superheroes. You got Trump, RFK, Tulsi, Gabby. Listen, them some superpowers right there. They the superpowers of truth. That's what I like to call them. Because baby, they dropping truth bombs all over the place, and I am here for it. All right, guys. Well, you might see me, you might not. You know, you just never know with you, girl. Hit the subscribe button. We're gonna continue this conversation. Freedom Friday. Y'all enjoy the day. Walk in the light of Christ. Don't get offended. Offenses are gonna come, but don't let nobody steal your joy, because ain't nobody mad but the devil, baby. I love you all to life. Enjoy the day. Bye.